So the Activision Blizzard situation is pivoting out of control. When I did my previous video on it a few days ago, we spoke about these cube crawls where drunk male employees crawl from cubicle to cubicle and harass female employees, up to the story where an employee took her own life while being on a company trip because, amongst other reasons, presumably she was sexually harassed as well, but her nude pictures were handed around at a company party. So it's not looking good, and I thought, well, that's as dark as it's going to get, right? No. You'll be surprised. It gets much, much darker, as it is so often with stories like this. When the ball kind of starts rolling, more and more people come forward, and more people say what happened to them. That's the case here. So let's go through this one by one, and it starts with Blizzard and Activision employees actually walking out in protest. That happened pretty much after I recorded my previous video. They went out and they protested and tried to make their voices heard and speak out against the mistreatment of female employees at the company. And looking at the pictures, it's all very colorful and positive. Honk to support equality. They hung up little hearts with their messages. Make this place a better place. And they even wrote a giant hashtag across a street, as they did with Black Lives Matter. But it's the hashtag, it's kind of it doesn't look as good as the Black Lives Matter thing did, but these are just artists at Blizzard. They don't need to know how to write big letters across a street. No, I'm making fun of it, but obviously this is a very, very serious issue. They went out in the street, made their voice heard, and now we're coming to the first disturbing layer of the story that I didn't really see coming. So apparently Kotaku reports that there was this thing they called the Bill Cosby suite at BlizzCon, I believe 2013. Here's a lovely photo of all kinds of important personalities of the video game industry. It's not just Activision Blizzard. I think this guy over here is from Riot Games. Don't nail me down on this. But it's an aggregation of all kinds of important video game personalities. And they set up the Bill Cosby suite, which apparently was a room inside a hotel. And lovely messages like this were exchanged. Alex Afrasiabi, who by the way is kind of a key figure in all this. We're going to talk about him a lot. I think he's one of the head honchos at World of Warcraft. He was creative director of some of the extensions and then rose in the ranks, and he's kind of the untouchable guy apparently within the World of Warcraft team. And he says day one preparations made Cosby's suit in effect, sharing a picture of lots of drinks and things that you would consume to get drunk. Baller, see you at the show this weekend. Well done, rock. Okay, so far, I mean, the Bill Cosby suit, maybe it's just a joke or something. But then we get this lovely screenshot. All people high up in the ranks. So we have Dave Kozak, I can look that up. He is a former Blizzard designer, and he says, well, I'm gathering the hot chicks for the cause. Bring him, says Alex Afrasiabi. And then Dave replies, you can't marry all of them, Alex. And then Alex Afrasiabi says, yes, I can. I'm Middle Eastern. Oh, God, Lord, man. That's just stupid on a level where you're like, good Lord, did he really just say this? And I just can't imagine being in a chat room like this and reading along with it and being like, yeah, this is okay. This is a normal chat. And then Jesse McGree replied, you misspelled fuck. Oh yeah, you misspelled that, right? You wrote Mary, but we all know what you mean. Jesse McGree, by the way, is currently lead game designer at Blizzard. So it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear what's going on. Now, it has to be mentioned that Bill Cosby, I think, was really arrested and prosecuted in 2018. But by 2013, there were already all kinds of allegations floating around against him that pointed into that direction. So it was not exactly a secret. Now, obviously, when asked, all the guys involved said, yeah, no. The Cosby suite, that was just a green room, right? It's a green room for taking breaks during BlizzCon. And the name Cosby suite, oh, no, that just came from the comedian's iconic ugly sweaters, because the rooms we booked, they always look kind of dated, like his sweaters. So, Cosby suite, right? That's believable. That's probably how it went behind closed doors at Blizzard, because this is just his sweaters. I come on, I believe that to an extent this started as a joke. Okay, they're like, oh, the Cosby suite. I don't think they're like, look, man, we're gonna set up this rape factory up in the hotel room. No, it's not that. But when you read chats like this, right, and you kind of get an idea of the bigger picture, with all the cube crawling and allegations and nude pictures of employees being handed around at companies and all that, then I'm having a hard time to think this was just kind of a boys club thing. We just want to relax in the Cosby room, and come on, man. It's just a tasteless thing, right? It's a thing that you don't do, and the way they spoke about it and stacked up alcohol and all that, it's just suspicious. Oh, and before we move on, I want to share this little picture with you guys. It's a painting that someone did of all the staff with the Cosby picture. The next thing that I came across, which is also unbelievable, happened in 2018, and an Activision IT worker pleaded guilty to mounting a camera under the sink in a manner to point at the toilet. So you have an IT worker at Activision putting cameras in the bathrooms, pointing at toilets. That's the thing that happened because he pleaded guilty to it, and it's just like, good Lord, man. I mean, if it would be just that, you're like, okay, man, this guy's a lunatic. Okay, you do something like that's just out of this world crazy, but it seems to reflect the company culture to an extent, right? You want to be in an environment where you feel free to do something like this. If everyone around you is a misogynistic asshole, then you can feel free to place a camera there because, people, probably the boys are going to laugh about it. If you tell them about it at the water cooler, they're going to laugh. They're going to find it funny. So it's just another example of just out of line cases that, I mean, where do you read something like this? Have you ever read a story like that about any company? That any employee mounts a camera in the employee's bathroom to film the toilet? I don't know. I've never heard anything like that happening in a company. I mean, it's bizarre. And Orca in the court says this company perfectly mirrors gamer culture. Well, that's obviously a bit snarky and a bit over the top, but he's not, he or she, I don't know who that is, but it's not completely wrong. There's a point there, because you can see what happens when girls join voice chats in any game, really, and make their voice heard as a girl. Everyone's like, oh, we've seen the videos on YouTube, what happens. Gamers are extremely misogynistic, and they don't like women in their community. Many of them don't, obviously not everyone, but it seems to be a disturbing amount. And that, to an extent, reflects in the companies, because ultimately the people who make those games at Blizzard, they're just, what are they? They're just nerds. They probably started playing video games themselves, and that's how they got into it. And they're just like nerdy incels, probably, who are now in a position of power, right? Because now I'm leading the creative department of World of Warcraft. Look at me, I'm big shot. Nobody gets me out of here. Making 600K a year, Blizzard. So it gets to your head, right? You become this person that thinks they are untouchable, and then you run around and you do whatever the hell you want. And we have a few examples of that, like this, for example, from Stephanie. And she says, hey, I was assaulted by Afrasiabi. In case I didn't make that clear. He groped my and multiple times through my thin leggings for the better part of an hour, going up and almost in, and just harassed me until I literally had to distract him by telling him to get a drink. Then getting other male co-workers to take him to his room and make sure he didn't keep coming after me. Like a freaking predator. He tried to get me up to his room with him. He tried to offer me a trip on his boat. He tried to coerce me into sexual activity. He just kept grabbing up and further, and just, thank God, I was able to get away from him without making a public scene. Good Lord. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously, she can just claim that. We don't know. I don't know her personally whether that's true. But it's absolutely disgusting. And there's more. I'll link all this stuff down in the description so you can read it for yourself. I don't want to bore you with all the details, but there's a lot here. A lot of people just talking about. There's another example that I found is Sarah Dadafshah, and she tweets, when I quit at Blizzard, human resources was finally like, so what can we do to make you stay? Do you maybe want to be transferred to the game team? Because they're less toxic, right? They're less toxic than the tech people. And or do you maybe want to be paid more? Imagine that. Imagine you're going to your human resources. You're basically quitting and you're saying, look, man, maybe she mentioned it. She's like, it's a horrible, toxic environment. And they're like, oh, yeah. No, we hear that a lot. Gaming is less toxic. I mean, it's also toxic, of course, but less toxic. So you want to go there? You want to try gaming? Yeah? It indicates that they know what's going on, right? That they are aware of the situation and that they're just kind of accepting it. They're like, yeah, different level of toxicity in the company. You've got a chart here. You want to see the chart of the toxicities in the different departments? Some departments are more, some less. It sucks to be a woman anywhere, really. So Also good to note that I was practically in tears during my exit. I was begging them to use all the stuff I reported to H&R as an example of what's going on in this workplace, telling them to make significant changes. Seems like they did nothing. So another disturbing report. Then we have this little clip from BlizzCon 2010. Some of you may have seen it already, but here we have a lady asking a question to, I think it's the World of Warcraft panel, right? Some of the developers. I don't know the names of the guys on stage, but let's see how it goes. I hope this is loud enough.
Hi there, Xantia from Kieran Tor. I love what you guys done with Little Crest. I love the fact that you have a lot of very strong female characters. However, I was wondering if we could have some that don't look like they've stepped out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog.
So let's pause here for a second. She's asking a legitimate question, right? All the male gamers love epic outfits, pay loads of money to get that epic outfit that looks cool with gold everywhere and muscles and the wide chest and all that shit. You know, men love it. So why is it weird and funny and stupid if a woman asks the same question? She's like, look, I just don't want to be running around naked all the time. It's like little metal shields over my nips. What's going on with that? I think it's a legitimate question and it should be taken serious. That these people are booing is ridiculous, and look at them all smirking on stage. I understand this was in 2010. It was different times and all that. Come on, man. He's a grown man. This was a legitimate question. And again, it comes back to what we spoke about before, right? With kind of a bridge between what's going on here within Activision Blizzard and the gamer culture as a whole. See how everyone's booing. How everyone's like, yeah, man, screw this. Screw women should be naked, man. It's a reflection of all those voice chats and all that. There is a bigger problem within the companies, but also, in my opinion, in gaming as a whole. Let's keep watching this.
What do you mean?
Wait.
Which catalog would you like them to step out of?
Could you see Sylvanas looking any other way? Right. So
right. Gotta see those boobs, man.
We feel you, and we want to vary our female characters, absolutely. So yeah, we'll pick different catalogs.
All right, yeah, okay. So exposing her as a complete idiot, making her feel awkward, making fun of her request and her question. And it's exactly this kind of, you can really see this frat boy culture, right? That we mentioned in the other video, that is kind of overarching over this whole thing. I think the actual lawsuit titles them to be frat boys. And you can see it here. It's exactly them, right? They're like, all right, man, we'll pick another catalog. What catalog do you want? Huh? Are you over 18? Do you want to see a catalog in my hotel room? You know, I developed the game that you love. Keys here. I'll leave the key on the table. Leave it right there. Going upstairs. Now, I'm just saying, we can talk about catalogs. So it's just disgusting. You know, the tone that underlies stuff like this is, I don't know, man. It feels inappropriate and just borderline disgusting. Then we have this report, posted on Reddit a few days ago as well. A woman formerly in one of Blizzard's hourly services talked about the agonizing process of trying to get time off approved by her manager in order to go to the doctor when an ultrasound raised the possibility of serious medical complications of her unborn child. She was told that she had to return in 2 weeks to check again from the hospital, only to be told by her manager that she couldn't. She said she remembers crying in the waiting room, trying to explain that Blizzard wouldn't let her go to the appointments even though she had paid time off available. Good Lord, man. Imagine that. Imagine having your unborn child, and one of the nightmares of any parent is that there are complications. And an ultrasound says, yeah, okay, there's a problem. We should do regular scans. And then your employer's like, nah, man. Now you can't do regular scans. How is that going to work with the next upgrade for World of Warcraft? That's got to come out, right? I mean, it's nice if your baby dies, but let's be real here, honestly. I mean, surely the next World of Warcraft DLC is more important. You agree on that, right? Are we in agreement? So disturbing stuff. Another source says that men would walk into the breastfeeding room because there was no way to lock the door. They would just stare. And this woman says she would scream at them to leave. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? That is just, it's on another level, and it just doesn't stop. We're not even halfway there of what's going on. It's completely insane. IGN understands that breastfeeding rooms now or since have been updated with locks, and now you can breastfeed without being stared at. You can really imagine the guys behind the scenes at Blizzard. They're like, so what's the problem? Well, I stared at her, but she had her boobs out, and then she started screaming. She started screaming. Oh, that's not good. No. Other people even heard it. It was quite embarrassing. Right. Okay. So now she's asking for locks, right? She wants locks on that door. And she was screaming, you say. Okay, I guess. All right. And let's just put a lock there and move on, I guess. And you can just imagine that there's no compassion for that. It's just probably she had to write 500 emails to get those locks onto those doors of the breastfeeding rooms. Here we have the next story, and that is Blizzard recruiters ask a hacker if she liked being penetrated at a job fair. So someone else came out. Here's a little quote. She sat down at the recruiter table, and one of the Blizzard employees first asked if she was lost. It's nice. You go to a recruiter, you try to maybe work with Blizzard, and they're like, you lost or what? It's like a recruiter table. They try to recruit people. Like that's... Anyway, it's already like nice, welcoming hello. So, and then apparently another one asked if she was at the conference with her boyfriend. It's like, yeah, okay, 2 questions here at Blizzard. If you want to work for us, are you over 18? And do you have a boyfriend? It's kind of crucial, just for our data, for research purposes. And another one asked if she even knew what penetration testing was. It's like, oh man. I understand, again, like each one of those stories, if it would be just that, everyone would be like, all right, bad apple, horrible person sitting at that recruiter's desk, remove him. It's out of conduct, it sucks, but let's kind of move on. But it's just this pile. At this point, we're just shoveling more cases on like a pile that's already like room high, and I'm wondering where I'm going to put the next pile that's coming with more stories like that, because it just doesn't end. Then we have obviously the article that goes into a bit more detail if you want to read about that. That penetration interview, then you can do that. I'll link everything that we talk about here in the description, by the way. So then Blizzard said, okay, this is enough. There's too much. We have to take hard consequences, make hard changes, and clean this place up. That's what they did. So they fired Alex Afrasiabi. That already happened last year, and it wasn't really a big story. He just kind of left quietly. So maybe there was already something boiling behind the scenes. In fact, Activision Blizzard said that they conducted their own investigation and took corrective action over the Cosby suit incident. So they were probably aware of it. Obviously, they're not making that public, but probably he lost a job because of that, which is another piece of evidence that that was kind of out of line and was not just a boys' club where people relaxed during BlizzCon. So obviously voices that we heard coming out of similar stories in the past saying we need to unionize, we need to get together. The employees of these companies, generally the video game industry, has to unionize, take a stand against this kind of treatment, kind of create a platform where people can fight back if they get caught in these kind of webs. And even former Blizzard developer Jeff Strain says we need to unionize. People need a voice that helps them out of this, because it's a bigger problem. It's the industry, it's all these developers, it's the studios, but it's also the gamers. People need a platform to strike back because these things are getting out of hand. Obviously, Activision Blizzard comes forward, says, yeah, that's a great idea. Unions, really good. So what we're going to do to support this is we're going to hire a union busting firm and then take it from there, because we love our employees, but they are basically disposable. And unlike our brands, which are very, very valuable, our reputation, you can just remove employees that are kind of out of line and don't fit the picture and replace them with other employees. So I don't think Activision Blizzard really sees a problem here. The union busting company that they hired or that they're working with apparently is the same that is busting Amazon's union. So probably the best in the game, right? If you really want to bust a union, get those guys. But at the same time, Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, apologized, and he really meant it. He released a letter saying that the original response they had, which was kind of out there as well, was tone deaf. It was tone deaf to the accusations and the horrible things that happened. And he doesn't want these things in his company. He wants a clean company, and he wants to make sure that the shareholders are happy. Okay, because if they're not happy, then it's not good. It's not good for Bobby Kotick. So what we need now from Bobby is an apology. Something that says, I'm sorry. We don't need to change anything. You don't think we need to kind of overhaul the company, find people that are doing these things and remove them. Maybe put people in place that only look at these kind of systems within offices and try to stop them, remove them, and do all this kind. It would cost money. It would change the dynamics of these studios. I'm sorry. I'm just really sorry. That's what Bobby Kotick basically is saying. And you can just put it in the bin. It's absolutely ridiculous, especially in contrast to them also hiring a union-busting company. So those two things are it's like a joke. It's literally like a bad, sarcastic joke from them. On one side, he's like, and on the other side, hiring a company that makes it impossible probably for any employee to get together and fight back against these kind of things. So the situation really is out of control. I'm pretty sure this is not the end of it. It's going to move forward from here, and it's just going to get more disturbing because more and more people are coming out, going to tell their stories, and let us know what's going on. And to be honest, I don't really know what to do against it, because like we've seen it, with people booing for girls not wanting to look half nude all the time, and gaming as a whole, like it is often such a misogynistic place, and I don't know what to do against it. Obviously in companies you can regulate it, you can look into that stuff and at least try to fix it if you want. Do I think that they want it? I don't think they really care. Like I said before, people keep paying for World of Warcraft, right? So that money keeps coming in. I don't think a significant number of subscriptions were cancelled because of that. Of course, now you see people on Twitter like, I'm deleting my Battle.net and I'm deleting never playing Call of Duty again. Yeah, I want to see that when Diablo 4 comes out, right? People are going to queue around the freaking block. Nobody's going to talk about this anymore. It's going to be out of this world. And I think Activision Blizzard is completely aware of that. They're like, I gave it a half year, and then there's some scandal at Ubisoft. Nobody cares about this anymore. They also got Call of Duty, one of the most successful entertainment franchises in the whole world. So to be honest with you, I don't think these brands will really suffer from this. And everything that I see here in terms of apologies and stuff coming from Activision, from Bobby Kotick and all these people, it just feels like public relation management, right? They're like, no, guys, we got to calm people down. We have to make sure that everybody knows that we're very sorry. Okay, we really care. And then they take like a textbook apology and write it, and nobody reads it. But it calms people down. It creates a little bridge over the turbulence of the current situation. And then in 2-3 weeks, it all fizzles out, and then nobody cares anymore. We're not going to make any change. However, there is the possibility, having seen what happened at Ubisoft, at Riot Games, and it's an ongoing story within these studios and publishers and developers, that this might be, because it's so big and present, the beginning of a larger war between employees and employers. Because obviously this is not the only company this stuff is happening to, and I can imagine that people feel empowered through stuff like this coming out, maybe being able to unionize and kickstarting a long process that goes over 10-15 years, and hopefully we come to a point where things don't happen that much anymore. At least that's my hope. There is also, I like to point out, a lovely story that puts everything into perspective, a full timeline of everything that happened with dates. It's a bit dry, but it's very informative if you want to read it. I'll link it down in the description as well. It's on PC Gamer. Also, I found this little gem which says, how do you think Blizzard will fake apologize at BlizzCon 2022? First of all, there's no announcement. You don't know if there's going to be BlizzCon 2022, and I don't think there will be, but it's a funny thought. And I thought maybe you guys can let me know. Let me know, how do you think Blizzard will apologize for this at this year's BlizzCon? What would they say? I don't know. What do the people think they say? We will do better. Again. This time. No, seriously. For real. And get a free skin for Overwatch. Yes! Free Overwatch skin! Okay, I forget everything, man. Give me the skin and I'm ready to go. So Activision and Blizzard are in a bit of a pickle now. Who knows if people will still remember in a few weeks. But this is the story, and I mean, it's really out of this world. Please leave me a like if you enjoyed the video, because I can definitely not monetize it. There's no way with everything that happened. It's just out of this world. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'd really appreciate your thoughts, and smash like. Subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.